Well, this isn't what I planned for the start of the semester, but I do want to welcome you to our course, Geomorphology. We're going to be doing things just a little bit different today because, as you are aware, classes are canceled for the afternoon. But I want to keep us moving forward. We have an exciting semester planned, and I don't want to cut us short or make our schedule stressful. So I'm going to do a few things today, and we're going to even talk through an activity so that we can hit the ground running when we come back for class on Thursday. Just as a real quick introduction, for those of you that don't know who I am, my name is Holly Dolliver. I've been on campus for about 14 years. I have a unique position within the department. I'm split between our soil science and geology programs. As an undergraduate at North Dakota State University, I majored in both of those areas, and I've spent the bulk of my career trying to bring these two disciplines together that I think are really great and really compatible, but for the most part have not collaborated side by side with one another extensively. Some of you may also be aware that starting this year, or back in the summer, actually our fiscal year, I started in as our department chair for plant nurse science. So in addition to teaching, I also have quite a bit of administrative responsibilities as well. Okay, on Canvas is a copy of our class syllabus. And I would highly recommend that you navigate out to Canvas and at least look at a copy digitally. I'll bring the paper copies to class on Thursday, but at least in the digital copy, you can see the outline and the nature of our class. And probably right off the bat, you're going to see that things are maybe going to be a little bit different. Even the syllabus is put together a little bit different. I would like for you to read these things over. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about it. We're going to talk about one thing in particular in a lot more detail, which is our classroom format. We're going to be utilizing a flipped classroom format. You can read a little bit more about it on the syllabus, but we'll talk more about it even today. Otherwise, already all of our exam dates have been set. You can put those on your calendar. The one thing that I would point out towards the bottom, we do have an exciting opportunity to go on a half-day field trip. The bulk of that field trip will be right over our class time. There's just a 1 hour addition at the front end and the back end. If you could make sure that you've accommodated for that with other classes and work schedules, that would be great. Please look over the grading policies, rules, expectations. Let me know on Thursday if you have any questions about any of those. In class, we would have done a little activity to get us all excited about the topics that we're going to be covering. Geomorphology is a very diverse topic area. There's a lot of great things that we're going to be doing this semester, and many of the things that we're going to be talking about are all over in the news. If you just Google things like glaciers and sea level rise and coastlines and coastal erosion and sand dunes and hill slope stability and landslides and mass movements, you're going to get a number of news articles that are going to be highlighting current events that have happened around the world. I think this is such a great course because you're going to learn about things and you're going to be able to relate them directly to real life things that are happening around you today. It's a really practical and really applied course from that standpoint. So we're not going to do this activity, but I thought I would at least just mention that this is a course that really is going to teach you about a lot of things that are important in our world today. Okay, real quickly, we're not going to do much lecturing in our course. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, but I just want to give you a little bit of perspective for what geomorphology is all about and why it is important. So if we just take the Latin roots and break them down, geo meaning earth, morph being shape, logo, study of, we're really studying everything about the landforms and the processes creating and altering them. I would love for you to write that definition down. It should be the first line in your notes that you'll be taking for the semester. So we're going to be studying all about the nature of the land surface. That's what makes this class exciting. It's all about the things that you see around you. But then I'm a process geomorphologist. I want you to know what that hill is and what we call it. But what I really want you to know about is why it's there. What are the processes that created it and then are altering it still today? And the Grand Canyon is a great example of this. So Grand Canyon in the background, I had a chance to backpack it a number of years ago. You'll see some pictures of it in a second. It's a great example of a stair-step canyon. You can see that kind of at the top, old picture of me backpacking. One of the first backpacking trips that I did when I was an undergraduate. You can see this stair-step canyon with vertical walls and kind of these sloping surfaces that are right behind me. That's an example of a landform. Okay, we can classify this landform. But if you hike further down into the Grand Canyon, and unfortunately you can't see the same scene that I saw back in, I think this was in the late 90s, this is the bottom of that particular sub-canyon called the Havasu Canyon within the Grand Canyon. It was listed as one of the 10 wonders of North America, which is why I had specifically wanted to backpack in this area. But you see the river that carved it, and it's beautiful, and you're in this arid landscape, and you really get a sense for just that slow process of rivers wearing away on these sedimentary rocks that comprise this landscape. So it's just a beautiful connection between landforms and processes, and that's what we're going to be doing all semester long. Geomorphology is all around you, which is great. You can go anywhere in the world, and every surface that you stand on was built by geomorphic processes. I had a chance this summer to spend most of the month of July in Alaska. You're going to be seeing a lot of images from my trip. It was truly a life-changing experience. I was working with permafrost landscapes and the degradation of permafrost with global warming. We had a chance to visit a glacier as part of our work that we were doing up in Alaska. This was another great project. You can see very quickly that geomorphology is a pretty fun area to be in. I had to fly over the island of Kauai, which is more or less the northernmost island of Hawaii. It's one that has been extensively weathered and eroded, which is why you see a lot of red coming through. These are rocks that have broken down, basalt, volcanic rocks that have broken down and produced these amazing landscapes. This is called the Cathedrals area of Kauai. It was just spectacular to get to fly over it in an open air helicopter. This is a trip that I went on down to Tulum, Mexico, which is just kind of south of the major tourist area of Cancun. Had a chance to work on some stuff related to coastal processes, and this was one of our sort of beautiful sites that we were looking at. This was in Scotland, kind of just south of where the university does its Wisconsin and Scotland program. Again, looking at some coastal and shoreline processes. This was a geology regional trip, so a 2-week trip that I led out to Colorado. We had a chance to go to Great Sand Dunes National Park, which is just a beautiful place to see sand dune formations. These are all things that we're going to... Oh, and this most recent picture is from my 3-week trip to India that just happened in January of this year. Unfortunately, you can't see a lot in this image because the smog was so intense. But India is a very old landscape, geologically speaking. A lot of the crustal rocks are very ancient. We were in very southern India, so a long ways away from the Himalayan mountains and some of the more recent topographies. This very old landscape dominated by rivers kind of wearing down all of the rock features that are present. So you can kind of see those rivers in that image, but the smog is pretty intense. So these are all things that we're going to have a chance to talk about this semester. And I really hope that you find this course to be exciting, because I hope the end result is that you really feel compelled to get out there and explore your world. And I think what you're going to gain from this course is really a sense of place. When you're out taking in these amazing destinations and national parks and national monuments and scenic places, you're going to think about them differently. They're not just going to be simply beautiful anymore, but hopefully you're going to appreciate them as well for everything that it took to create it and get it to the point it's at today, but then also you're going to have that perspective for where is it going in the future. And I think that's really powerful, and I hope that excites you.